Going to call to order the Finance Committee meeting for October the 3rd, 2022. If you'll stand with me, we'll have our invocation followed by a flag salute. Dear Lord, once again, we just like to thank you for the gift of another day. Just thank you for your grace, your mercy, and your love. Just ask that you would just look on the city of Muskogee, bless our residents, bless the seniors, bless the youth in our community. Ask that you would just touch the hearts of our city leaders tonight as we come together to discuss the business of our community, that all that we do be in your will and in your way. These and many other blessings we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Salute. Pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Turn my phone off. Finance Committee item number 1, please.
Consider approval of Finance Committee minutes of September 19th, 2022, or take other necessary action.
After reviewing the minutes, are there any corrections or additions to our minutes?
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve our minutes. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Perlin Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes. Item number 1 passes. Item number 2.
Consider approval of claims for all city departments September 10th, 2022 through September 23rd, 2022, or take other necessary action.
Purchasing Committee did not have a quorum tonight, but if you guys would like to look through your claims, we can discuss them, or if there's a motion to approve them.
I make a motion that we approve the claims.
I second it.
Have a motion and a second to approve our claims list. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Perlin Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes. Item number 2 passes. Item number 3, please.
Consider approval of Resolution Number 2918, temporarily suspending enforcement of City Code 2-62 and City Council Policy 7-1, allowing the purchase of motor vehicles following competitive quotes rather than sealed bids until such time of the adoption of the revised purchasing policy or related ordinance currently being prepared, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Miller.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you for your time. We are living in a little bit of extraordinary times, and our usual process for purchasing vehicles is floundering a little bit. Usually we buy vehicles off state contract. I'm going to have Mr. Swepston speak to come up to the podium and let you know how that's going and why that's a difficult problem right now. And we'll get into some specifics about why we'd like to temporarily alter our purchasing policy strictly related to purchase of motor vehicles based off some of the information that Robert's going to give you.
Good evening, members of the council. Little background on state contract. The state goes out, the Central Purchasing Division for the state, and they do the competitive bidding process, and we're allowed to piggyback off of that. So to be awarded a state contract, there are several elements that are involved, such as the size of the dealership, the ability to handle large volume of orders, dollar amount of parts and stuff that you have in stock to be able to support those orders. So that's why there's a limited amount of dealerships that are awarded the state contract, and why our local dealerships usually are not awarded those, because it is a pretty extensive process to go through. So I thought the other microphone was working. So in the years past, what we were allowed to do is to just basically go on the website, create an order, build the truck, if you will. There's a base truck, and then you can add options if you want 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, cloth seats, vinyl seats, etc. Then submit that order through the dealership that has the state contract. That order goes directly to the manufacturer. It's usually about a 6 to 8 week turnaround, and that vehicle is delivered to us. Since the chip shortage has been going on for a couple of years, and then just the overall part shortage, the manufacturers have not been able to keep up with the demand, so orders are being canceled. An example I gave earlier in the purchasing committee was that GM opened their orders for a 12-hour period. Usually it's a 3 to 4 month window that those are open, so you have plenty of time to submit an order. In those 12 hours, they took 87,000 orders. The very next day, they canceled 67,000 of those because they knew they couldn't fill them. So even if you were able to try to get your order in, most likely your order would have been canceled. So we're living in some times that we've never faced before with a severe vehicle shortage, and we're just not able to purchase in our normal fashion. If we did find something at a local dealership, like we have found in this particular instance, that dealer most likely is not willing to hold that vehicle for 6 to 8 weeks while we do the normal seal bid process, because the vehicles are in such high demand that they have people standing in line wanting those vehicles.
So, yeah, that, Robert kind of got to the crux of the matter. If we're trying to buy a vehicle over $25,000, which is pretty much every new vehicle that we're going to find these days, we have to advertise that. That's at least a 3-week process. Once it's advertised, you got to put that in the newspaper beforehand and all those things. Then we have to get the bids back, bring it to council committee, to the council, then cut the check. It's at least a 6-week process. And people aren't holding their vehicles that long. It's kind of came to our attention this week that we were looking to replace about a 10-year-old vehicle that was severely damaged and is no longer in our fleet, actually. It was damaged in the ice storm or the snowstorm early in February in an accident. So it's for our fire marshals. So we found one that's a few $100s more than the state contract. But they won't be able to hold it for us for 6 weeks. And so that's kind of the quandary that we're in. Again, these are budgeted items. The city has appropriated the money to purchase them. We're trying to do that. And we will follow competitive bidding, and anything over $25,000 still has to come to the city council. So you guys will see that. You'll see whether you feel like we're getting a good deal and whether it's worth spending that money on that particular vehicle at that particular time. But this lets us make that decision in a more efficient manner. In the meantime, we'll also be preparing some overall edits to our purchasing policy, which is about 10 years old and hadn't had any updates since then. So we may look at that as well. There's a lot of things that, again, when we pass that, you could get a vehicle under $25,000 and we wouldn't have this issue that 10 years ago either. So I'll be happy to answer any questions, as will Mr. Swepson. Otherwise, we would recommend temporarily suspending the enforcement of City Code 262 and City Council Policy 7.1 and allow the purchase of motor vehicles following competitive quotes rather than sealed bids while we're working on that full modification proposal for our purchasing policy. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Miller or Mrs. Swepson?
Mr. Miller, do you know a time frame on the purchasing policy revision? Are you guys working on that now? And if so, how long?
We have begun. We think 30 days is probably a time that we could get it done. We'd probably, if you all want us to set an exact time, I'd like to shoot for 45 just to be on the safe side. But we're not asking for a long-term suspension of this policy. We'd like to have 45 to 60 days and hopefully get it done way sooner. But a temporary suspension until such time as you can review those policy amendments. If you'd like to establish a time, we'd be happy to do that.
Just to clarify, Councilor McGee, and based on what Mr. Miller said, the resolution that makes that suspension expires the earlier of 30 days or the new policy. Okay. So 30 days is the minimum. So if it needs to be, or excuse me, is the maximum. So if it needs to be longer than that, then we need to make that amendment so that it can be included when the council formally adopts this next week.
So our treasurer is looking at me, and he's taking the lead on these policies. So 30 days fine, or would we like to request an amendment to the proposed? All right, 30 days.
Any further questions?
I move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Marlene Boyardi Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hoos.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes. Item number 3 passes, and that is our final item for Finance Committee.
Welcome to tonight's Public Works Committee, October 3rd, 2022. Item number 1, please.
Consider approval of Public Works Committee minutes of September 19th, 2022, or take other necessary action.
We've all had a chance to review the minutes. Are there any corrections, or do I have a motion?
Move for approval.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Pearline Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor, Derek Reed.
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 2, please.
Consider approval of confirmation of the County Commissioner's reappointment of Dr. Fred Reefer to the Muskogee City County Port Authority and the Muskogee City County Trust Port Authority to serve a 4-year term beginning September 1, 2022 and ending August 30, 2026, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Miller?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. You see in your packet the recommendation from the county commissioners. As you know, the City County Port Authority has its members nominated by some by the city, some by the county, and then the other body, the other governing body, ratifies the selection of the initiating body. And so the county commissioners have appointed Dr. Fred Reefer to serve a 4-year term, and they are asking the city to approve his appointment, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that I have. Otherwise, I think it'd be appropriate to consider his nomination.
Move for approval.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Pearline Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Item number 3, please.
Consider approval of the lowest and best bid from Cook Consulting LLC for the John T. Griffin Industrial Park Water and Sewer Extension, project number 2022009, in the amount of $1,396,082, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Reeves?
The intent of this project was to provide the John T. Griffith Industrial Park with water and sewer to each of the available sites. I provided a flyer which basically shows the lots associated with the industrial park on page 1. On page 2, you'll see a yellow line that shows the sewer line that we suggest that the engineer has drawn on this. The gravity sewer line is approximately 6,800 feet long, and would provide each one of the sites with sewer line. The blue line, which is a little bit harder to see on Smith Ferry Road, and intersects with 24th Street Place, will be a water line. It'll also provide each one of the sites with water. That water line is approximately 8,000 feet long, and it runs along Smith Ferry and goes down 24th Street. Both of those systems would provide the water and sewer for the whole park. Staff does recommend approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves. Is there any further discussion?
Move for approval.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Pearline Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Item passes. Next item, please.
Consider approval to accept the engineering services agreement from Cowan Group Engineering LLC for professional services for plans and specifications to complete the Haskell Pump Station, project number 2022021, in the amount of $95,300, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Reeves?
As stated, this would be engineering services for this project. If you don't know where the Haskell Pump Station is, it's off 48th Street, just south of Smith Ferry Road, kind of concealed back there. It does provide 2,000 people with water. The city of Haskell, as well as Rural Water District number 6 and number 10. The station has been there since the 50s. We've had several leaks in the system, which does shut down water to those areas that were listed above. And so it's very aged, and the manifolds made out of ductile iron. The pumps and motors are on their last legs, as it were. The project would include fencing that surrounds the building and a parking lot, which is very well needed for the employees to be able to service the station. And we would retain the existing structure, but everything else as far as electrical pumps, the VFDs, all electrical systems would be replaced. So staff does recommend approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any further discussion, or do I have a motion?
Move for approval.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Pearlie Boyati Craig.
Yes.
Shirley Hilton Flannery.
Yes.
Tracy Hous.
Yes.
Tracy McGee.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Derek Reed.
Yes.
Thank you. That's our final item tonight. We do not have any citizens signed up to speak, so meeting's adjourned.